Okay, so I my name is Lee, first of all. I'm honestly thinking of making videos on some Seren shit because um I've been watching the Grapevine all day and I've been having a longer conversation with one of my closest friends about how there really is no community no matter where you go. Personally, I am a non-binary trans person. I'm Black, but also Hispanic. Um, and I identify as a a person who is interested in all genders, pansexual, whatever you want to call it. And honestly, navigating that space is very difficult because it's constantly. I live in Seattle, so Seattle is very mostly white. Underneath that is Asian, and then Black, and then you get into the subgroups and whatnot. Um, and navigating a space that is inviting and isn't going to cause you to go through a whole bunch of hoops and microaggressions and all of this shit. Like it's very hard to find. It's very hard to find. Especially since I am in such a niche group within all of these other groups that I belong to. Like going into a only Black space where I should feel completely at home, I can't because I still have to go through the fact that I am trans, and I still have to go through the fact that I am of a different cultural background than um, um, African Americans. I am African American. I was born in New York. However, since I'm Dominican, I'm Dominican Puerto Rican, but the Puerto Rican side is very small. So, growing up in a household that's Dominican, Dominicans have a long history of denying the African heritage. So I grew up in a household where there was a lot of anti-blackness. The the push to identify yourself as Dominican first, Hispanic first, and never Black, um, was always present in my home. My mom was super abusive. She had her own issues stemming from like trauma in her childhood, and that transferred into me. And I have a lot of mental health issues and whatnot. Um, and navigating that space was very difficult growing up. So I have a different cultural background because I was never given access to the African American experience. I have the experience of being read as African American and being African American, but I don't have the cultural or historical background that African Americans that are, uh, I want to say, like several generations back. I'm first generation on my dad's side, second on my mom's. Um, so that is just a different experience. And so navigating a space where you don't have to over explain things or feel othered in your own communities is very difficult. Um, so for a while, when I first came out as trans, which was in Seattle, um, I had to, I was more interested in navigating a trans only space or being friends with more trans people, because then I wouldn't have to explain what my pronouns are, but they're he, him, or they, them, by the way. Um, or have to explain what non-binary means, or anything like that. But then the problem with that is that you're navigating a mostly white space and dealing with a lot of microaggressions and just overt ignorance, just overt ignorance, really. And being and just feeling very even other than that space. And then that translates into other spaces as well, the disabled space, the neurodivergent space, or the mental ill space, or, um, whatever word you want to use. And that is also very difficult to go around. So like I was having a very long conversation about how there is no community no matter where you go, and it's really hard because I would love to be in a Black only space where everybody doesn't give a damn about anything else and was respectful and willing to learn, but there it, there's so much division in every single space that you really can't find a group of people that you belong to, that you belong in that community, that are going to be respectful of every aspect of your oppression, of your marginalization, and understand that and validate that, and are willing to work against their own homophobia, racism, ableism, sexism, all of that, because it's really hard to find. Nobody wants to accept that they have points of views that other people. Everyone wants to play the oppression Olympics and say, no, I am the most oppressed person in any group that I go into. And it's really just not the case. It's really not. And so I'm probably going to make a whole bunch of videos about this, about other issues. I'm watching The Grapevine, which is one of I really enjoy watching The Grapevine. It's very interesting. A lot of the topics are very eye-opening. And I really have nothing but good to say about the moderator, along with a lot of people that are on there. Soren, on YouTube, is Sensei Aishitemasu, Aishitemasu or whatever. I have been learning Japanese and I still fuck up. So yeah, I love her videos. Her videos are so amazing. But I'm watching the Grapevine's episode. What episode is this? Episode 51 in season 2. Are trans women real women? And I'm looking at this, and this is the first time I've seen anything on trans people by the Grapevine. And of course, there are people that I've been listening to and was like, oh yeah, you have made good points, and like you seem cool. And then I'm listening to them say these horrible transphobic things, under the guise of just like telling it as it is, and this is what I believe. And most of it is like, I don't want you and your experiences to impact the way I live my life. But they are supposed to impact the way you live your life. Like, you're supposed to care about how other people feel. Like, you're supposed to want to make people feel comfortable in their space. You know? You can't just live your life, I don't know, in your own sphere and only caring about one portion of your community. You have to care about all of your community, because it's not just white people that are trans. We're all like a lot of people out here of every color, of every creed, of every race, of every ethnic background are trans. And it's really sad, and it really reminds me of Soren's video. The all skinfolk ain't kinfolk, and it's really true. It's like, no matter what space you go into, there's always going to be somebody, or some people, really, because it's not usually just one or two. Some people who are going to be like, no, I don't want you in my space because I don't like you for this reason, you know. And it's honestly really disheartening that you just can't find a space where you're truly respected and truly acknowledged, as who you are, you know. So my hair is. I was going to bed, but then I watched this and I was just like, I should make a video. Um, so hey, but yeah, I probably will be making more videos. I'm not really doing a schedule, but I'll be making more videos eventually. finally medicated, so that's good, and help my productivity. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.